Today is the last day for the 4 days of meditations anyway, so and I think for the first hour, today's 25th, right? 25th or 26th?
25th.
Yeah, September, 25th of September 2007. I think yesterday, so I guess yesterday was, to sum up something what I told yesterday is, I said yesterday is when the Siddhartha, decided to look for the way that kind of the, well, I maybe put it this way, to cut off the reincarnation as one of the main purpose that he wanted to do. Because you think that if the reincarnation is still taking place again and again and again, there's almost like there's no such a guarantee that people really can maybe say that we can have a really good life here now, but you never be guaranteed the next time how is it, what kind of situation you can face, and so forth. And that's generally believed that even when someone to be born again and die again, to be born again, to be die again, that itself actually is a kind of troublesome too. I mean, not necessarily to you guys, I'm talking about that's what the Siddhartha was thinking. And that's the reason why he renounced his what we call the household life, or you could say that that he abandoned that his position as a prince, and then he was just looking for the religious, right? And he looking for the religious. Now we said that already. The first two teachers he has encountered, and he studied under the two teachers, and the two teachers actually teach them a certain type of meditation. We don't know what kind of meditation, but even I didn't mention yesterday. Certainly, there are some people suspect the meditation might be much to do with the breath meditation, meditating on the breath. So, however, but then we're able to attain a certain stage of what we call from Buddhist perspective, called jhana. You must be bear in mind also, actually, even though one day if you expose yourself to many types of meditation, especially in India, they don't necessarily use the same term. They're just almost like you have some experience, might not necessarily people using the same term to describe that experience. Okay. Don't be surprised even that happened, not because of other religion, even within the Buddhist tradition. So that's the reason why a lot of people find, if you want to have a deeper study in Buddhism, firstly, if you don't have experience, you never know what they are talking about. You always, if you like, you can say everything is the same. If you don't like, you can say everything is different. Because you don't know what they are actually. But even though you have experience, still you have to, you still have to decipher from the context whether they were talking the same thing or not talking the same thing, addressing the same thing or not addressing the same thing. Anyway, so whatever reason is that, so when they reach, that's why I use the term, from a Buddhist perspective in the Buddhist language. The Buddhist language saying it's kind of like a jhana. When they enter that kind of jhana, they have a different way of belief. They believe that kind of jhana actually is kind of unification with the God. But he knew that that was not a solution for so-called the cut off the reincarnation, cut off the ultimate defilements. So the reason, at least one very clear reason, not necessarily religious reason, but very clear reason he mentioned in the text, he knew very well that when he just in any moment not in that meditation state, he still have problem, defilement, or you could say there's if there's anger. But while you're in a meditation state, when I say meditative state, meaning the jhana, such a powerful kind of spirituality that you attain, but you're fine. But what if when you don't have that, right? But the problem haven't solved. Now this is really, I don't know whether you understand what I mean. For example, now you say, okay, now yesterday we are doing the joy meditation. Supposing if you meditate and joy, and I think this is much easier to click to American mind. Even when I say American mind, I mean when you live in this country, because everybody here in America, general culture is, however much you are not happy, you have to pretend you're happy, right? Yeah. That's the stereotype for foreigner, definitely. The stereotype for foreigner, it's always like American young kid always say, hey, nice, like that. That's the stereotype. But I ask a lot of young kids also. That's why, when they were young, they go to abroad, they always show, if I'm an American, always show I'm jolly happy guy. Yeah, they definitely have that. I mean, I don't mean all like that, but it's just a kind of, the way they like to present themselves, And of course, the meditation on the joy is I guess it's usually much easier to click with that. At least my experience tell me that when I'm in America. It's different when you go to Asia. When you teach this joy meditation, a lot of people find it very difficult to practice. Very difficult. No, I know what you mean. That's what I'm telling you. If one day if you teach them, you will know. Actually, in general, it's true. I can see that. In Asia, if you teach them a joy meditation, some even, what are you talking? Why meditation is joy? They even find the concept is strange. They even find. But anyway, so when let's say you learn the joy meditation, so you have the experience that you feel that that's fine. But even though it's fine, okay, but you still know your mind. When you are, again, you may be when you encounter certain thing new to you. Say somebody in the morning give you a nasty face, you still get angry. Maybe when you're in meditation mind, you do not feel that much different, but the Buddha can see there's a problem. It's not completely solved. Even though I can be joyful mind, what if the people are still nasty and I can be conditioned by the, conditioned by the external factor that will affect me, right? If that was true, then how you cannot say you completely solved the problem. So but that's not the Indian, but that's how at least the Buddhists believe. That's not at the time how the Indian religious believe, because they think when you have that kind of mental state, you are with the God. When you're with the God, you'll be blessed. You are always fine. Everything is settled down, right? And I guess then when the Buddha do not agree with that point, I guess somehow. I don't want to put the story wrong. You can write a lot of things there. So that's something to do with the way he brought up and the way, somehow. Okay, now that's what yesterday we talked. So to understand that part, and after he left the two teachers, he then able to just practice what we call the self-mortification, like fasting for It's set up to the point that he just only eats one. He could even do the fasting up to the point that he only had just take one tiny big wheat a day. Or you could just understand like one tiny bit of the rice a day. So it's not fasting like 1 day, 2 days, but he fasting for a year or like a few years like that. So. And I also mentioned, actually you could read his description. He told the monk, there was a certain time he told the monk, he said, when he was doing the fasting, when I was doing the fasting, so I try harder than anybody are doing the fasting. Whenever doing this kind of so-called, because that's how the Indians believe that when you have this kind of ability to tolerate all these kind of things, and I try the best that. Not the best. I try even more than that. We were trying to tolerate. Well, I guess mentally, maybe somewhat. I guess is I could understand. Imagine that if a prince left the place looking for this, I'm sure the mind must be very strong. That how can it fail? I really have to try. If people work 1 hour, I need to work 2 hours. Yeah. Anyway, now. Then we knew that. Of course, the story definitely we knew that. Then later on, he definitely found the solution. So this is what today I like to share a little bit, and the solution that he think that how you can really get the enlightenment, not what those religions that time think when you have that kind of jhana is enough. Okay. Now we must understand first that at least from a Buddhist text, the Buddha is still different from what later on the monk do. When I say different, it's not totally different, but I don't want to jump because this is unless you have a background. I presume you don't have that kind of background, so it's difficult to give to say. Okay, maybe just say the Buddhas first. So we knew that afterward he realized that he needs some intake some food, he need energy. So and then he could really work on the last final, what you call the final strike for the liberation. And then he would, of course, that time, after he has some energy and he get a good food, and he knew that for that day, if he just sit under that tree, that's why he crossed over the river, and he knew there's a tree there. He knew that when he sat under that tree, he would be getting enlightenment. So he knew very well. He just needed time to finish all sort of thing. So he said that. So I think it's about actually that's early morning. So I think that was overnight. It's like a midnight. I think it's maybe 1 or 2 o'clock. I guess maybe 1 o'clock. I guess. So he then somehow when he sat there, then somehow he attend enlightenment. So the 3 things that he first attend, okay. The first thing, he attend what we call, generally we say that as a divine eyes. I think this is not a good translation, but maybe best to say that it's okay, I'm not here to say translation now. Because there are so many types of divine eyes, even in original term, the Chinese always translate divine, that's wrong also. In original term, it's not divine eyes. The term mean, he actually mean he's able to see himself, his past life basically. Okay, it's said that he been able to see his past life for 1 past life, 2 past life, 3 past life, 4 past life, 400,000. 10,000 past life. Now we must. I mean, of course, nowadays we always say the Buddha have much powerful, but at least now we're just based on the sources. We have no question about the sources, but based on the sources, that he could see 1,000 past life, 100,000 past life, 1,000, like a million past life. Generally, if you meditate, you can see 3 past life. That's enough. Okay. Traditionally, you have to be able to see your 3 past life. I'm going to just say that in traditional way. If you can see, let's say my past life, 1 past life, in my other past life, actually that's enough. But if you can do 1 more past life, that means usually my previous past life and my previous past life, is including this life, that's enough. So anyway, but then he said the Buddha to see billion past life. That's one thing. Then he show himself what he was, what did he do, what kind of name he was, and why from 1 past life to 1 past life, how they are connected to each other. Okay, that's one thing. And then second, he was started to see the whole. This is just himself, but then he was able to observe the whole universe's change. So, now, this kind of scene that arising and ceasing of the whole universe. For example, he said, in the past, that everything changed. For example, now what you see, there's a mountain here. In the long past, actually, this place have no mountain. And there are certain places, there were now no mountain. Actually, in the long past, there were mountain like that. So that means you could see. If you be nowadays, of course, we believe the Earth here happened. How many billion years, at least. So, and he can look back how the universe was. This Earth was evolved. Not only that, actually, he said, then he also start to see how the Earth evolved, and how the similar kind of a life disappear, and then appear in other universe, something like that. So he suddenly just been able to transform himself to observe this universe changing. I mean, not only the earth, but the universe changing. That's what we call the ceasing and the rising knowledge. Now, and of course, this is just the material side, like the earth, the living planets, and so forth. But also being, dying, appearing, dying, appearing. Okay, that's the third knowledge. But the third knowledge is the crucial one. So the knowledge, what we call the knowledge of, I think the knowledge, we translate the knowledge, but actually the word is knowledge. I don't know how. Old translation is always important. I think I don't need to put too much time to explain that, but I want to say is that just imagine first. I always say that this is just imagine. If this is true, that you can able to see your past life clearly in the meditative state. You know, just like you may be asked, you may have a question. How can you just one day see some billion past life? That's an interesting part. That time is beyond the time and space concept. Just like I always tell people, just like a kid maybe asks a question, how can you look at the whole, the whole thing? A little kid just start to learn reading, right? And he knew, read a word, it takes maybe, let's say, read one page takes 1 minute, that's it. And how can you explain that? Of course, after you read the book for a billion times, how can you explain that? I know everything there for a little kid. How can you explain that? Can you understand what I'm saying? No? You don't understand what I'm saying? Huh? If you want to finish a book, this thing, 300 pages, it takes how long for you?
It depends on how I'm familiar with this book.
That's true. But I mean, just say that you are a kid. You just start to learn English.
It's impossible.
How long it takes you? Just say that, presume it maybe take 1 day for you.
Yeah.
You work very hard, right? But when you read that second time, it takes how long for you?
At least half of the time.
Yeah, it could save a lot of time.
Yes.
But if you read that for 1,000 times,
then maybe that was 10 seconds.
yeah.
Very fast.
But you know, in the concept of the time and space, how can you explain that?
Okay, explain that.
Okay, I don't want to discuss that now, but I just want to say that, a lot of people ask me the question. They even say, how can it be possible when a person about to die, you see yourself so many times? Maybe it just happen in a few seconds. Right? Maybe actually, if you have experience on the verge of dying, you might know somehow feel that different. To you, that person is about to die just like a few seconds. But let's say that person alive, and then he knew very well what's happening, right? And when it starts, somebody observed in the front, like us, like observed, like as an observer. But they say, no, I suddenly don't know why I remember everything what I did, when I was like a little kid, this and that and so on. But it just, I think it's just only 1 minute. How can you remember that so much life? But you look at you maybe live of 60 years old, but how can you remember the main thing is 60 years old? How do you explain that?
Yes, you already been through it.
Yeah, I think Dr. said it's because you already been through it.
It's your own.
Yeah, but that is, if you want to,
That's why it's
the problem is we understand everything always in terms of the time and the space.
But it's not about the time and space.
Yeah, you cannot explain that if it really what we understand the time and space, right? Now, this is I'm not going to discuss. Certainly in Buddhism later on, this is one of the subjects. As philosophy subject, it's not practical, but for practice we are not discuss that. But that's what I wanted to. What I want to say is that basically it's belief he could see that kind of part of the life, and then he also see the world evolving and changing, including the now what he lives now. You thought this is a place, it's like that. I'm saying that, but we're saying in the past. My understanding actually, according to Buddhist understanding, the earth here at least they will pass 7 big civilization. 8. This was supposed to be the 8th civilization. There were 7 sevens then completely gone, completely like zero become. This is a Buddhist understanding of the earth. So anyway, and also not because just seeing the earth and the earth also gone and then appear similar life in other places also. Like that, you could also observe that. It's almost like we are reading some science fiction. As well as he also could observe the people. I mean, when I say people, I mean the living being, not only the people, living thing that evolve that way, and then die and evolve and die like that. Imagine if you have that kind of vision comes to you, how do you feel? I'd like to hear from you. How do you feel? Oh, wonderful! So good. Do you feel that? How do you feel? If you have that kind of really the vision comes to you.
Pretty scary.
His answer is scary. And any other?
Compassion, more compassion.
And wow, she's had more compassion.
Would it be kind of
Is
overwhelming?
impermanence, huh?
Would it be kind of overwhelming? Because
You mean the overwhelming,
because
yeah.
many information is compressed in a short time. So,
It might be, yeah. But I guess definitely that doesn't. Even certainly the compassion would not help the third one. Impermanent, more yes, but a little helping, but not directly. And you would say scary definitely is not helping that. Yeah, yes.
You feel sad.
You feel sad.
I think it would induce some sadness, awareness of its utility.
Yeah, that is one part of it. And anything else, I am waiting for one other word. At least this is my understanding.
Meaningless.
Yeah, the meaningless. You see, imagine that if our life is on the street, right? Then we always just look forward. As a guy, you just always look forward. I'm so bad at looking forward, so this is a no, send them out. You always just look forward, right? But then if you're able to look in the past, backward, you always feel like, why that time I had to do this thing? And why this time I had to do this? This is just about our past, as like this life, you know. But at least kind of you still understand this is a life, you know, I have no choice, whatever, okay? Because blah, 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 especially if you did something bad, and did something good, you also find you could make a decision. Let's say you are in A here, you can make a decision to be this way. Actually, you want to make a decision that way, but you didn't do it, so it becomes this way. Okay, fine. Now, what if you can look at back in another life? So, and let's say your other life, this life he was a prince, and his past life say that he was a god. Okay. One kind of God. Everybody thinks God is wonderful, but then still have the same problem there too. Even they have a very good life, but the suffering of same thing. For example, sometimes feel not satisfied with everything they have. They feel people don't obey with them, right? Don't listen to them all the time. Let's say that some people here we fight, but maybe they don't fight that much. But at least they still, why I have to listen to you? I have my life, right? That definitely, because people have, even whoever, how high their mentality, they still have a disagreement. Maybe even they are very nice to each other, they don't hurt each other verbally or whatever. Still, when you're in that kind of wonderful stage, you don't feel satisfied too, right? Have you ever faced this problem in your life here? This, at least I can feel that, you know. Like, we're back to like what we learn meditation. This is why sometimes Buddhism say that way, but not actually. Please understand in the correct way. At least my version. Understand it correct. For example, everybody have joy feeling. Of course, now because we don't have much, everybody have joy feeling. So we think, wow, this is good, right? But what if everybody just have a joy feeling? Every time they meet you, joy, 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 right? And but then people still die. People still say, oh, I want to have my job, I want to go other place, but they still joy will tell you. And you are still joy will tell you, wonderful, I bless you and very happy that you find for the job, right? But you don't have conflict, less, almost like no quarrel, no jealousy, because I'm talking about like divine beings. But still, oh, he lived there now, you know. Even though I'm joy, but he lived there, but he's my good friend, right? You know what I'm saying? Now, this is interesting. So that you kind of like you become a own testimony to see and being that, okay, what about some people say, I want to be a cat. The cat is very nice and people love me. Okay, and let's say, of course the story is that he was a cat, he was a monkey, he was a tiger, he was whatever, you know, and he was this and that. I don't know whether you believe or not, but I guess the main point what I want to say is that when he mentioned this kind of thing, it's very clear he wants to show that there's a time when you can look back and look back and look back. And also he was a king also, actually, even one of the time, not in this culture, this civilization. There was one civilization he was a king also. Not once, but there were a few times, but once he was a king also. And okay, he ruled the country so well and so forth, and he died also. And then the kingdom, after some time, started to decline, and you know some. Now, then he started to see somehow like what is the meaning of so-called the life. I don't mean I'm here to say the life is not only here now, it's life, but the whole living. What is the meaning? And don't forget. Before we said he had practiced his self-modification, particularly very emphasis on the concept of you cannot enjoy so much of your life. If you enjoy so much of your life, you will still have a very subtle way of clinging on what is the happiness. Okay. Now, because I guess that concept, that kind of training as a self-modification, even though it's completely wrong in an extreme way, but it helped him to look at the other side of it, that actually is a suffering. Now, it doesn't sound very promising, a very wonderful story to most other people if you don't understand the teaching well. But anyway, let me continue. So, and when he see that, then he see when your mind is kind of like understand wherever you are, whatever you are, how good a life you are, or how bad a life you are, you still face the same thing as an intellectual person. If you are intellectual, you have it. If you have the rational kind, particularly if you don't, unfortunately, then you were born in a place that you don't have much choice. So that all thing is still full of what? A numb of unsatisfaction. Ultimately, even you thought I can have a beautiful life now, but then when you look at the whole thing, it's unsatisfactory. So he recognized that. So what is the cause for the unsatisfactory? What is the cause? Desire, the mind. The mind wants something. One thing. So in that such a deep meditation, he realized that, and when he sees there's a cause of that, and that is also that kind of mind desire to be living, to live, okay, that actually become the cause of his reincarnation. When he able to look at it, especially when you have very strong focus on concentration, this is how he cut that off. This is how then he again the knowledge of eradication of character. And then that's how, actually there's a little between here first. Let me just say, when he entered this, so supposedly there's a story about, very famous story about the Buddha, and his body started to have a light. Okay, the light, the body started to have light go far, all beyond the universe. For this kind of light is like I'm sure now who are learning about this, who are learning this so-called what do you call? The diagram of the light is what is it? Kind of wave, that we have so many we cannot, our naked eye cannot see. Yeah, aura is one of things. I mean, I just want to say, like in physics now, you know that we have many other eyes cannot see different kind of color, right? So like the birds can see some color, but we cannot see some color like that. But that kind of light just go now, but and you feel the light comes out, like usually we say 6 light comes out. But to be precise, actually the light comes out, it hasn't really fully attained Buddha yet. It just, still he need a little realization by himself, that believing that I gone through already, okay? I mean, even though when there's a light goes and goes, but still he still attained the Buddha mode, okay? All right, let me just say, then of course in the Buddha story, don't worry, okay, when you attain enlightenment, do not think that it will come to you because you are not Buddha. No such a thing will come to challenge you. And story it say that, of course, at the time, then the demon, that's what you translate Mara. But I told you last time, in Buddhist concept, the demon is not come from hell, actually from heaven. Okay, they are heavenly being, just only jealous kind of heavenly being. And then because of light comes, and they knew, someone become a Buddha now, because it's the one that out of the whole law, the universal law, and they know there's such a thing, but nobody want it because they just want power, right? And what they want is that they want to challenge these people and let him not to become a Buddha. Because someone is completely out of his control one day. So that's why he just cut it off. He completely, he just came down to challenge the Buddha. That's a story, okay? So challenge the Buddha is very easy. First, see whether he can facing the temptation. So of course, just saying that he sent his 3 daughters. I'm sure you remember the story. The one daughter represents the lust, one daughter represents the anger, one daughter represents the ignorance, right? We can't do that. And the Buddha didn't move his mind. So, and this is depends how you really read the story. And after that, it doesn't work. So the second thing, you have to challenge the Buddha by fear, let the Buddha fear. So, and he summoned all the armies. The Buddha is alone sitting under the tree, a Bodhi tree, and then he can summon 10,000 armies right here. Imagine if you are sitting here, you think you are about to get enlightened, and then now the army is come to you, they want to kill you. You fear not. So that's that you could. And some people of course like to say that there's complete mental. I'm not here to discuss that yet. Okay. So then basically the so-called Mara said, so ask him to whatever you're doing here, as you think that you could get enlightened, is futile. So it doesn't work. So what he would do, then ask the Buddha to give up. Buddha don't want to give up. He still think that he's there. He just need even a little more. I told you already, actually, to be precise, he had the light already. But even that is not completely attainable. Just still need a little thing. Of course, when it comes to that point, he could face all the temptation. One is the temptation of chasing, and the second is that he could actually really not fear now. So, but it could be because of new objects come up. Now this is not just one people want to kill you, but 10,000 armies there. It's such a big, kind of summon. All right, and what happened? He was, of course, he doesn't fear. Of course, the story said in a very different, very nice way. So he used compassion to cope over his fear. You could understand that way, because the story said that then they shoot the arrow, right? Then you could see like an arrow, almost like I forgot they have a description, almost like all the arrows just came down, came to the Buddha shoot, and the Buddha only just give up the compassion to them. And then it's that on then all arrow, you could take this as like a beautiful story. The arrow transformed to the lotus, just fall down. Okay? But you could understand in a way, mean the fear being replaced by he just have the compassion, not thinking about the fear. Yeah, please remember this story. One day, I know some people in China especially, they always have feared ghosts. I always told them, you think then they are more pity than you. Why you should fear the ghost? Going to hurt you. Okay? Then if you have learned the compassion and loving kindness, meditation and so forth, just have compassion towards them. I'm not here to say whether it's a ghost or not. This is not my story, my subject matter. But you know, if you really have that kind of fear, why don't you just have a compassion, right, towards them? And if you're very powerful, let's say there's people say they wanted to kill you, people want to fight with you. Fight with the people with compassion, right? Can you do that? Maybe you don't believe it. It's possible. It is possible. Hey, don't fear. You know, let's say, anyone here learn Kung Fu? No, I learn Kung Fu. That's why I can tell you something. I'm not joking. I don't want to tell my story too much. I mean, I know one thing, you know, when you learn Kung Fu, you know Kung Fu. Not necessarily you really can beat the people when they want to really, you know, fight with you. But you have the confidence. The confidence is, even though I'm sure actually, none of you have learned Kung Fu, I'm sure I can beat you all. I don't worry there. But maybe somebody really better than I, right? Or I'm not talking about people using a gun now, okay? Say some people really know Kung Fu better than I, they practice long time. I'm sure I'm in general, I might just lost. But that's not about that. It's about I don't fear because I know what is mean. Somehow I don't understand. So I don't fear. That, you know, in other words, you could just fight with the people with fear, but you can fight the people without fear, right? The same thing. I always say you can fight with the people with the compassion, you know, or something like that. Anyway, back to the Buddha when he just have that. It's said that the second time he uses mind, so this is how he subdue his fear. Now this is look like a story, but really important in your life. When you have fear, just have the compassion, you know. But I don't mean that you don't run for your life, but you must, if the compassion can run for your life also. Right, the third thing that what he can counter is to crush his confidence. So at the end, the demon, the Mara knew that both words doesn't work. What is the best word to work is to crush everybody confident. I'm sure this is nowadays a lot of a good book will tell you, you must believe what you're doing, right? Okay, right. But you have to imagine this kind of story. I have compared many versions already, almost the same. That been kept from 2,600 years ago. Tell you this, almost the same thing. So the Mara was asking the Buddha, how do you know you became someone? The Buddha means you can be someone completely called a fully enlightened person. How do you know? Who can be a witness? Who can prove you are like that? It's just a flash. Like nowadays people say, they say, I want to do this thing, right? Same thing. You know, nobody do that. You must be a stupid guy, right? They clash your confidence. So, and that's the same thing in Krishna Buddha. You are sitting there under the tree alone. It's not like me, the Mara saying. Look at this, my soldier. They can prove I'm the king. I'm the most powerful. And then the soldier, yes, he's the king. He's the powerful. And the story said really nicely, I guess. And they all bang their weapon on the ground. What kind of sound? Boom, boom, boom. Now, even if you see movie, you say this kind of thing. But if you have ever really been in the kind of war, you somehow know the feeling. It's really, you can crash the, you know, that's the reason why in old days you need the drum and everything to show we are powerful. That it crashed that confidence that you could really fight. Imagine he was facing a king, you know, Kumara, and then also that. So, but then the Buddha said, no, somebody can be my weakness. That's why you see a wonderful Buddha statue that the Buddha extending his hand, touching on the earth. You saw there's a statue like sitting, but you see one hand is not like this. One hand is put it down. That he said, earth can be my weakness. So that's why he said when he touched on the ground, and the ground have the earthquake. And you know, when those army was really sick, standing there, imagine he was on the ground, but now when the earthquake, it was not stable. Okay, I don't know whether this how do you understand, but generally, certainly is a beautiful story. And this is how then the Mara know that finally even he can crash the Buddha's confidence. Now that time, then the Buddha has to come back to himself again. Even though he has almost cut off all the defilement, there's still something left there. So, and here look at himself, that himself what? He has a light, he has a confidence, he has energy, he has this, I mean, usually believe that he has 10 qualities, but I don't want to count all, but generally important is the light, the energy, the confidence, you know, and then the energy, I mean, this is how I remember those few things. Basically mean he had everything, that he knew he is good, he is a Buddha, but that concept still need to be abandoned. Okay. That's why when they left, even he has a light so far away, that concept he still need to abandon. That I now attain a Buddhahood now. That concept is still know is the ego. Okay, very simple. So when he saw that as an ego, of course he's a Buddha, is different from other now, then it completely cut off the defilements. This is how it become a Buddha. Right now, it's a beautiful story. Then the Buddha knew already that he attained the Buddhahood, not attached to anything, not because he have attachment that he's Buddha like that. Then he spent his time to think how he become someone called an enlightened being. How? That's why he spent 7 days sit there just to think. The whole process is not true. And then he spent 7 days doing the walking meditation to know what this other posture does for him. And he also spent 7 days just standing, kind of like when necessary, mean most of the time not moving, and you know, to understand the whole thing. You know, lots of people may be finished, done, you know, but he's not. He still had to think, how can he transform himself, become that person, you know? And that's a good time to think about it. So he has all this power. Then, of course, and he spent 47 days to contemplate the whole thing, what the process going on with him. Then he knew he need to go to tell people that actually they can like him, that can be attained the enlightenment. Now, I know I spent a lot of time. This is not my original. I think I said the story sometime in the past, but when we say this, we need to remember the Buddha first. Right? Now, then we back to the teachings. So later on, different school or tradition have a different way of lay out the practice system. But even though how different they are, but they have the few of the main thing almost a similar set. Okay. I know that nowadays you feel very boring of this subject, but you must be, trust me, not many monks can tell a different tradition how they look. They maybe only tell one tradition, even maybe not necessarily can tell exactly. I don't mean this is as a comparative. I just want to say, but actually, whatever they say, but generally, then it's certainly, I mean, it doesn't mean that you all the time have to go with the order, but in general, okay, because this is it's like a teaching. When you say something, you need to say it in order first. I don't mean that you definitely have to do that in order in such a strict way. So for sure that generally it's believed that you must have a good morality, the sense of morality, I mean, right? If people don't say, so what, you know, I like to be enjoyed this way, I like to scold people sometimes. Nothing is big deal, and people can forgive me sometimes, right? You can say that way. But you must be able to have the sense of morality, not just a fundamental morality. Also, you can be become to be much more sensitive that you feel like even you scold people, maybe it doesn't sound much, but you know yourself, it's something still wrong, you know. like that, or very subtle kind of part of it, right? Nowadays, your guys sit here, must be you have this kind of good mind. At least, not that you could do it, but at least you have this kind of feeling. But if you don't believe me, go out and tell people. You think you must be mad. You must be mad. You know. I'm a boss. I like to score and score. I like to fire you. I like to kick you out because you're not good. You know. But I don't mean that you cannot kick somebody out. I just mean that regarding to mental. I don't care what you are, how you are. You know, it's not. I just care the business has to be good. I just care I can be successful. Right? The people can aware that kind of subtle part is not many. And also, by the way, I don't hope that after listening to that you become really timid, all right? Oh, I'm like that, I'm like that. That's another story. We just want to say what happened. Okay, you're supposed to, especially when you grow up. At least I knew that when I was younger. Someday you tell me this, I don't care. Like for example, I speak a lot. I speak very quick, very fast, and sometimes I'm too honest. I believe I'm honest. When the people ask me, do you like my drawing? No, I think it's not nice. Actually, it's true, I don't think it's not nice, but I really tell, no, it's not nice. But you get angry. And I don't understand why you get angry. And people also tell me, because when I was in Sri Lanka, I used to help, because I was one of the earliest young monk to go there, and I knew some of the local language, so that's why. Not like now you can check on internet, everything you need your friend, right? Otherwise you don't know where to study, where to go, where to what. Now you are so nice. Yeah, always the best restaurant, best one. In those days, even book it doesn't have that much. Okay, 20 years ago, right? Anyway, I want to say this thing. This is me because I don't like to waste time. Some people, if they meet me, they ask me questions. I first ask them, just tell me 1, 2, 3 what you need. I don't want to spend time to talk. I think this is wasting my time. That was me. I'm not wrong. Did I do wrong? But sometimes I'm rude also. I say, why you want to waste my time? You know, if you next time come here, please write on the paper what you ask. That's my respect. Of course, some people feel hurt. But when you are more when you're not just young, not single, but when you always stay with other people, then you start to kneel. Even though I'm like that, I always think I'm okay. But actually, sometimes some people also treat me maybe similar way. I think, oh, today I feel nice. I want to cook a noodle for a person. The person say, I'm not hungry. Put that away. I also feel hurt. Oh, I cooked that for you. You know. So anyway, I just want to say that's like simple. Then you could feel that subtleness there. So this is what we call, firstly, you must have that kind of sense of morality, not just simply say, okay, I don't hurt you, you know. But there's subtleness, that's what they say. That kind of sense of morality, if it's there, then you become sensitive. That's actually the main reason why you need to practice meditation, because you start to become, otherwise I think a very rough person doesn't like meditation. Or sleepy. No, you must have that strong sense of some kind of very subtle sense of morality. That's the first thing. And then when those people have that, they can see the difference between when they have this sort of mentality, and or when they have other kind of mentality, how different that could be impact himself and the other, you know, that person itself or the other. All right, that's the first one. The second one, then he also understands very well that we must have this focus, because he start to recognize when our mind cannot be focused, lots of things always easy to go wrong, even though you know you must have the good sense of morality, right? But still it can go wrong. And the focus has required a lot. Actually, it's not easy, let me tell you. When your mind just not focused just a little bit, it becomes, in a subtle way, it can go wrong. Not because how you react with the people, but even yourself, right? Am I right? Let's say if my mind is so focused now, maybe you'll just say, you're wasting my time. If my mind is not focused, I would say, oh, that person is so bad. I'm trying my best to help you. Why you want to say that, right? But if I have a focus, you tell me that, you're wasting my time. I know. I would say, oh, actually, he thinks I'm wasting his time. You have a very subtle, different react. Right? You almost like then you have more time to digest. No, I must say digest wrong word. Kind of like you have more time to settle that, to respond that thing. looks like the focus is, but actually when you have focused mind, you almost like you had more time to deal with the thing, right? You can make a decision saying, telling the person, man, why don't you say that? I try to help you. Or maybe you make a decision say, I don't want to speak, fine, because it might be not happy, whatever, right? Then when you're not focused, you just react like usually we have a word to say, like a snake, of course. Like you thought people are attacking you, so that's why you attack the person first. You attack first, right? And you say, why you want to say that? I was teaching, but why you want to say that? I was wasting your time, right? Like this. So that's the second thing about the focus. Of course, the focus is the same thing. The deeper you are, the deeper focus state required, right? And any subjects like that, when you have focus, when you want to settle down lots of more detail, then you need to focus better also. Okay, that firstly that's what we call the morality. The second one we call the focus, or you can simply say the concentration. And we also understand the first day I introduced you that there are so many concentration techniques, because even that, sometimes when you have a different kind of focus, it can directly deal with the problem. Like if you have an anger issue, you can easily use loving color and so forth. And so anyway, that's another thing. Basically, then you have that. And what if the next one is now we have main problem as we cannot understand what we call the reality. It's all much to do with I. Right. My body, my looks, my health, I, okay, my thought, my idea, my opinion, right, all these kind of things. Now, think about nowadays, we have conflict. It's easier to see the conflict when you compare you and the other. I said, just allow me to help. I like this. Right. Wonderful. But there was a guy one day, he saw me, somebody offered me when I was in New York. It was like, and I saw he have a very strange expression. He's a Chinese. And I asked him, what happened? You drink bubble tea? I said, why couldn't I drink bubble tea? They have sugar. And that's his idea. He thinks monks do not take anything sugar. And he's I don't want to say where, but one of the famous university, he's the chairman of that society also. So he has somebody with him. He's like a chairman, right? Follow him. And he saw I'm a teacher, meditation. He came to join our meditation. I don't think he liked my meditation. I was teaching the same. I don't think he liked. He didn't learn anything because he was looking at me. This is strange monk. First he drink sugar. That's his opinion. And then I said, but yeah, why I drink bubble tea have sugar is fine. He said, 有奶呢. You mean even that contain the milk? That contains the milk. We cannot have milk. Luckily, I didn't tell him that. You don't have to be vegetarian. I guess it would be fat. I guess it would be fat. But anyway, that's his opinion, right? But you know what I mean by opinion? That's his word. Anything is not agree with his word, wrong. Especially when he think this guy, or that means the monk, has to be agree with my word, completely wrong. So how he feel? Disappointment, angry, right? This is I, mine. Now, it's what we call view, right? Are you feeling bored? You feel no, we can cut it short.
No.
The view. I'm going to drink my bubble tea. I hope the guy one day can look at clips and he will realize that. Why did I think that way so many years ago? I just have a bubble tea. Okay. And it looks very strange, right? Okay. Then that view. So basically mean the view as my physical body, the view of my mental state, right? And folks, that's now in order to that this is not just a simple thing. You need to be able to to decipher the whole thing. First, in order to have, this is why usually in Buddhism when you say the view, the word is drishti in Sanskrit. Okay? It's always translated as wrong view. But the word is just view actually. Okay? So that means if we have a view, it's always not totally correct. Okay? Okay, now we understand. The word is just view, 见, in Chinese. But usually we don't just translate this word. We only translate as 邪见 in Chinese, meaning the wrong view. It's always translated. But the word is just 见, okay? So that view, that because in order to really transform yourself, you have to be able to meditate and observe your body. Okay. Let's say, give you one simple example. Somebody always complain. I'm sitting, meditate. How can you meditate for so long, 1 hour? It's pain. And the pain is so difficult. Of course, I know, but just 1 hour. But if you ask, what about normally when you read a book, could you sit there for 1 hour? Yeah, I can, even on the ground. Maybe I never sit on the ground and read, but how about have you ever seen a movie when you're sitting on the ground? Yes. Do you feel pain? No. 2 hours, 3 hours, fine. Depending on what kind of movie anyway. Right, so, but the movie you like, 2 hours, easy, okay. Have you ever seen on the ground playing a computer game? Yes. How many hours? 6 hours, no problem. Right? Am I right?
Yeah.
Now, this is a question here. Why when you do meditation you feel pain? Why when you play a computer game and even almost have the same posture? No, maybe some people even argue me in the past. They say, I move, but I didn't say you cannot move, all right? And you feel bored or difficult also. Why? You're still sensing the feet sitting. Why you feel pain? Now this is a question. Why? Now here I don't want to answer that. It's a long thing. This is what we call the vipassana now, the insight meditation. So you have to start to learn. Is a pain stay there all the time? Or is a pain always there is because the same reason? Is the pain just there is because purely physical reason, nothing to do with the mental reason? Huh?
No.
You know, right? When you're happy, the pain is not there. When you're not happy, come on, don't say 1 hour, just 1 minute. Right? Did I say anything? You knew it, but you never thought about it. Okay, now if you meditate, you'll find, oh, yeah, it looks like, but I never really looked. Now, why you think that when you sit there 1 hour in pain is hurtful for you? And why when you're watching a good movie, you don't feel that? Now, you need to meditate, right? So, okay. Now, this is how you start to understand that. Now, of course, Buddhism have a kind of technique for you. Not only just like that, but there's a technique for you to understand. First, transform your idea. Don't look at it as a pain. Look at it as a manifestation of certain thing. For example, when you look at the pain is a concept. I don't want to say concept now because I'm giving you an idea. No, pain is something. But have you ever noticed when you're pain, something just behind? Really? Have you?
Yeah.
Tell me what it is.
The pen actually is changing all over the time. So sometimes it's more significant, more obvious, but sometimes it's more subtle. So the nature of pen itself is changing. So if your heart does not attach to this pen, it no longer feels that pen. Right?
That is one part. But do you feel the pain, something behind your pain?
Something behind my, I did feel something. That something is not the pen itself. It's more like a feeling in your heart.
But, okay. it's partly true. I don't say no. When I say behind, for example, now let me just say, when you pain, right? Do you sometimes feel the pain? You don't have to feel the pain, but you feel there's a heart here, like numb, right? Like the heart, right?
Yeah.
Do you do feel that?
Yes.
Sometimes you don't feel the heart here, but you feel like tickling,
Yes.
like a needle, right?
Yeah.
Right. And how do you feel like tickling, like in many parts like that, right? So, and sometimes you could feel the pain. Behind that is not the heart, not the needle. Maybe it goes together, but I mean that you maybe just directly when you feel it, you might be just feel hot, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
That's what I mean by behind. Now imagine if you have a go over your concept, not looking at the pain, but just looking at heart. Oh, now it become hot. Oh, now it become pickling. Oh, jumping. Oh, now it become almost like pudding. Okay. So what do you mean? Now this is what Buddhism say: the four elements. Now, even in the pain part, the part that you thought you sit there and feel pain, but you could actually simply observe as the characteristic of the four elements. Like there's a hardness, softness, heaviness, lightness, right? Roughness, smoothness, and also as a wind element, that's the earth element. As a wind element, the characteristic of wind element, there's a moving. You moved it. But or as what we call the fire elements mean temperature, hot. If you can measure it, and cool down a little bit. There's different kind of temperatures going on. Or if it as a water element, you feel this. Like you had the water there, you stick something together, right? Right. When the water element the characteristic become less predominant, and the earth element become much predominant, you feel the hardness and separate also, right? And so forth. I don't want to discuss too much because I don't have time to say so much because I have to say so many things. I just want to say this, just take this as an example. This is what we call the insight meditation. Then you do not look at the pain as pain. You shouldn't believe. Don't let your view take you. Investigate with your focused mind. Investigate what it is that I always think disturb me as a pain. What it is. Now, imagine that if your mind are not just observing as a pain, but rather just hard. Oh, now a little not that hard now. But this part has become just a little part. Before I thought the whole part is hard, but now it's not just a little part. But then the other part has become soft. But technically in our language means you are observing the characteristic of the earth and so forth. Interesting is when you observe that, you don't have the concept of pain, but you only know that kind of characteristic exists there. Now, when you have this kind of understanding in meditation, you understand that your mind is settled down. No worry, nothing. Okay, but of course maybe you don't believe. You practice, you know. You don't. When your mind there, you don't. So the same thing for your mind, like you say. I have a feeling. Pain actually it's a concept actually to Buddhism. It's a concept. You know, nowadays we have many proof, like the many thing about you say this is called pain, but then when there's a kind of test after the fight. Actually, no, there's no such a thing. You know, but let's say if you believe that you anyway, I don't want to say that it's an experiment now. I say that you could actually not feeling the pain, but you could just feel I don't like it, or I like it, or there's no such a feeling there. That's what we call, right? You could just feel like let's say I got pain, but I just not thinking, because if you let this kind of view carry with you, you will start to worry. oh, maybe I'm not good, or maybe because they hurt my body and so on. But you don't. You just feel like, oh, actually I have unpleasant sensation now. But yeah, the unpleasant sensation still stay there. A long time. Just like you sit there, you observe somebody you don't like. Oh, I don't like these people. He's coming here, he's going there, he's coming there, he's going there. And then sometimes you also find, hey, this unpleasant sensation goes also. I can guarantee you it will never stay 24 hours, definitely. It goes over. So it becomes the pleasant sensation. But then why I think it's a pain? Now, you started to really know the relative in a different way, right? Now, that's a feeling. And the concept of pain, you start to question. Is this a concept of pain always stay with you? No, actually sometimes you think something else, but you didn't realize it too. Am I right? You feel like flat, for example. Like, say that my pain is because my butt on the ground, right? You feel flat, you feel something. But then you find actually my concept, even with regard to the part that I think is pain that disturb you, the concept changed too. Right? That's another thing, the concept. Let alone to say why the feeling and concept is changing, because you always being conditioned, you always have a process of thinking process going on. Like I say, the process is like, oh, why this moment I feel pain? Why the next moment I don't feel? Okay, let me make a simple easy story. Why this seat I feel pain? Why the other seat I don't feel pain? Why? At least in the rough way, you know. The other seat I don't feel pain because I have a good food, I talk to a nice friend. And this seat I feel pain because I have expectation, for example. Now those things, this is how. Anyway, this is how you start to understand there's a body and the mind. And these two things, now you start to question now, what I always have to feel, believing this is how I feel, how I think, which one, right? Okay. According to meditation, then, when you understand this, the two things, you also can see the mind sometimes affect the body, sometimes the body affect the mind. Okay. Sometimes your feeling affect the body. When you feel something different, your body react differently. When your body react differently, it affects your mind react differently. And sometimes it's very interesting. When you change your mind, the body react differently also. But when the body changes, again react your mind. Let's say, you maybe don't believe. Let's say walking meditation. You learn walking now. I'll give you one very simple thing. So I set the contact. You lift up, you put down. Can they be the same thing? Why? It's just one step. Why not? You see, when you lift up, when you step down, your feet, when your feet contact with the ground, right? You contact with the ground, you feel there's a firmness there, right? This lift and step show you it can. When the body change, your mind can change. When I lift, I feel, let's say, I feel not heavy. When I step down, I feel heavy. It changes your mind. And it changes the law. When I lift, it changes this way. When I step, it changes a different way. And the heavy, and then the mind, how my mind interpret this, it changes again. If I feel nice, it changed my next understanding of my feet, lift, and come. Anyway, I just want to say that. Okay, you say, now how you say about the mind can change your body? Yeah, look at that. If I lift, I say, actually my feet is still heavy. When I lift down, it's not that heavy because I can really relax and put down. So your mind change your body and you understand your body. No, it's just one step. Then another question comes to you. What you always believe, that when you live mean, how to say that, generally we believe that when you live mean light, when you step down mean heavy, not necessarily true also. Now, you start to grow. Makes your view become not doubt, but become, I'm saying, open or softer. Viable, yeah. Now, so this is the Buddhism say, true, there's a very, very, very almost a microscopic, right, and kind of observing. Then you start to know the difference of the two, and then you also start to know how they interact with each other. In Buddhism, it's called you develop a certain kind of knowledge. Okay, and then this is how you start to understand the concept of what means the mind, I, as with the physical body, and the concept of what mean by the feelings and so forth that relate to our mental part. So non-material, material part and non-material part, how they are, right? Then you start to look at your life and your so-called I different. Can you imagine that? Oh, I think, what time is it? I think it's maybe time's up.
11.
Just say a few words. Supposing there are lots of things to talk, I really don't know aloud. So once you finish this, I have a quick picture. You also started to understand all things actually that interrelated to each other. Because when your consciousness arrives, say that I can just sit here, but let's say I can sit here, but actually my mind was not on my sitting, but my mind is on hearing. There's a fact, right? Because the condition is given differently. So that's why my reaction is different. If my condition, the awareness is not on my ear listening to the fan, rather than if my mind's attention on my sitting, the result is also different, right? So what if I don't hear this, or if I don't aware hearing, but I only aware my sense of hear, so something is gone. Okay, this is what the Buddhism understand, that what we call the cause and effect. What is the cause for that coming? Then what kind of result it comes by? However, when what is not there, and what kind of result will be not there? Okay, I give a very simple version on it. It's a long process because you have to base on these two things. You observe everything, actually they still have a cause and effect going on. So usually we say this as the dependent origination. They call yuan qi. So then this is the first part, you develop the purification. The second part, you develop the purification. If you're bored, tell me, okay, I will go quickly. So that's dependent origination. I'll just write here. And then the third purification, by this, by these two things, this is, you only see that things changing all the time, or what we call thing is always give you unsatisfied, because we always want good things stay, not good things go, but not necessarily like that. It goes its way. It goes its own way, right? You have to be realized that. So by observing reality, it goes its own way. So this is what we call the third purification start. When you start to see when it goes its own way, and this goes its own way, not just by seeing, it becomes a kind of understanding. This is why we say knowledge. Now, we don't use the view, drishti, in Buddhism. In order to say that you have an understanding, that's why we use the word jnana in Chinese words. But this is not wisdom yet, okay? You have this understanding, or you best to translate understanding, and that understanding, then you don't see much of body and mind as what I just mentioned. You don't also just know that how they relate, but you have a kind of almost like start to have a kind of conclusive way of looking at the thing. That thing just changing. Thing is just if you look all my the emotional part is always unsatisfactory. Okay, that's how you say, or nothing that you can control because we always think that we can. You know, at that time, even at this point, you always think you can. Remember, I said you change your mind, you change your body, you change your body, but you thought so. But at this again, you are going to demolish what the previous is like. I tell you, this is very hard, but this is why the teacher, if a good teacher, they always remind you, don't stick to that. You cannot go progress because the old people stick here. They don't want to move on here. Here, you almost like again destroy the belief in this part. When you have a conclusive idea, later on, this conclusive idea of what everything just become impermanent and so forth, like no self and dukkha. When that become a conclusive idea, and this interesting, this idea will carry you to see. You need this, and then it become a part of almost like we say that we say understanding. This understanding will become almost like suddenly you have a microscope. That's like a tool. That understanding will become a tool again to investigate whatever you just see here again, everything again, so that you see actually ultimately just there's only two reasons make us the problem. When you speak, it is very simple. Okay, of course when you practice, it's a long thing. There's two reasons. One reason is your tongue part, your greed, your clinging. Very subtle. Another reason, because you don't know what happened. That's what we call ignorance. Okay. Is that still you attend anything yet? No. Okay. Unfortunately, it looks like a very long story. In the third, the end of the third, okay, let's say there's a part 1 and part 2. At the end of the third, you start to understand that. What did I say just now? And then you started to know that, how will I say? Not only the problem is like this, not only just because it's permanent, not because there's no self and so forth, but there's another side of it. What kind of side? The side of, you see, thing can be ceased. Not just thing can be arise. Okay. For example, I see there's a problem, but you don't see there's no problem. Oh, I'm sorry. I look like everybody want to fall asleep now. That's why from up to here, even sometimes you might experience a little bit. We are saying this as I say, I don't mean you don't cross over sometime, but we just, for the sake of easy explain, in the big picture, generally you are going this way. When you practice insight meditation, that's how you go through. But here, even though sometimes you see there's no problem there, but still your mind tend to see the problems there. Right? You don't see the no problem is there. Because your mind still like to see something arise, you don't see something just gone. Now, I just say, look like my hand. What do you tend to see? I tell you, when you meditate at certain stage, you don't see that way, you see differently. When you look at this pen, you only see my pen moving, right? You don't see my pen is disappear here.
Oh.
Okay? It's not easy to train that. Because our craving mind is so subtle that you only see it's moving, it's a rise here, but you don't see this is ceasing, this is ceasing, this is ceasing, you don't. Okay? So it kind of like you start again, changes view again, to see the thing, actually everything, what I observe over here is all arise, it's become like you say there's a pen, but the pen go, you don't see the pen, you only see the pen go. You see the harness, you don't see the harness. You only see the harness is not there. Okay? You get it now? How? I mean, there's a little trick there. That's why your teacher had to remind you how you look at the thing when you come. At first, don't think that, oh, I want to see the thing go. Actually, you still see the thing is there, called not there. Okay? That is, you mean you see arising, not seeing the ceasing. Do you know my language? But that time, when you come to a mature, that's why the meditation, if really good meditation teacher, he will tell you, don't look at that now. Check other part. So when that experience, understanding come to another, let's say, if there's a one kind of understanding, there's second kind of understanding. Actually, we have many terms. I don't want to put all these terms now. I just want to say what happened in general. So that understanding come to that, now you see the whole picture in a different way again. All right? You're still based on your body and mind. You don't go that way. Picture. So that time, you start to see, there's a Buddhism called, you see the suffering here, the truth for suffering. You see the truth for the cause of suffering. Now, but you see the cessation. Okay? Now, then when you see the cessation, slowly, you see different things. Then you start to know that's the path. Okay, 那就是道。Because you know there's a situation like that. Cessation means the disappearing part.
Right.
The disappearing part giving you that kind of impact. Then you start to know that you step on the path already. So because
I just didn't hear you.
yeah,
but I
sorry,
heard
yeah.
you this time.
Now when you have that, when you understand that is a path already, it doesn't mean you get enlightened yet. But that path, you started to able to see again back how the arising comes, what's happening, how they connect. When the cease comes, what is become disconnect. Okay. And you were refining your view, kind of like refining your view. When you refine your view again, we refine the view again. So I think I need to say the short version. It's a little complicated below. That's the reason why somebody, when they come to that state, they cannot attain the same. It's because everyone is different. From that, even though you have all this refining view, some people need to check on something. They have fundamentally they have that problem there. Because you still have the blind spot. You need to find what is your blind spot, right? And then when you can able to divert your mind, maybe say in a simple version, in that blind spot. So, and then work on that with the strong concentration, because you need really firm mind, right? To look at the blind spot, then it's believed this is how you transform, you become true, the first step. Okay. Now at least, I think I would almost end my talk now. I just give you a very big pictures. When you say you do concentration, it's that, and when you do the vipassana, but please don't understand as a format. A lot of people still teach you in kind of format. I mean, this is my opinion. You must understand the whole process. You know, I mean, for me, like, oh, vipassana means I need to walk this. Well, no, it's not actually. But you need maybe just to, to train your mind, be okay. So the whole thing is, at least you have what Buddhism understand. We say that somebody can be a first fruit, 出果 or in Chinese, because in Buddhism we believe there are four kind of you could say four level enlightenment. Maybe put in the simple English. There's a first level enlightenment. When you enter that, then you will never same person again. And then you still refine your practice again, become a second level enlightenment. And the third level enlightenment, we say that usually we translate the third fruit. But we have a name for that, just in general we say third fruit. And then when you go to the fourth fruit, just Orohan Go. So when you go to the Arahant or the fourth fruit, you're complete cut of reincarnation. But if you are in the first enlightenment, the second enlightenment, third enlightenment, you still have to reincarnate. But I don't want to say that now. There are lots of different say. But just want to say, if we say that how you can attain like the Buddha, completely like Buddha, maybe your power is different from a Buddha. But for the enlightenment's sake, it's the same because, that you have to attain the fourth enlightenment. That's what we call our path. Okay. But I would just want to describe that. That's the first one. You understand why we call enlightenment, what kind of thing, what did they practice in general. So this is how they attain the first enlightenment. Then this is how they completely understand the teaching is right. That's really something called the Buddha, not because I have faith. Because if I can do that, well, of course, it must have to do that. And then this is why you automatically you establish the faith to the Buddha, mean the quality of the Buddha. The faith to the teachings, that means this kind of teachings, because you knew it there now. And the faith to the Sangha, mean the people who, either the lay person or monk or not lay, because they follow, they can attend that. Because you attend that first step already, the first enlightenment already. So for sure, if there's a first enlightenment, of course you know there's a second enlightenment and third. That's why that kind of faith, the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha is established. And the fourth one, your morality. The sense of morality become much more subtle already. And you knew, even though maybe people say I'm a foolish people, it's no problem because you knew this is more important. Right? I always joke, like even a monk, I can, because you are a monk, people just have a trust with you, right? You could tell many lies, even whatever, I don't know, right? But you knew that maybe now when I tell lie, you may be past life is my brother, or you feel very sense of close, right? Then you say, oh, this is my good master. Even past life we met together. So I just say that it's a lie. I don't mean this at all. But usually man should not say this kind to the lay people, even though you know it's true, but you don't. Because why you want to say that? You want to make you feel close? That's wrong. You must have the craving to make that, right? So that's what we know. Actually, I'm not criticizing anybody. I just give you one example. Even though I knew, let's say, I can see your past life. Actually, you were my brother. But I don't want to tell you. Why? If I tell you, how do you feel?
Well, I would feel like I would have to get close to you, my brother.
Yeah, but what about me?
Right? Well, I would like revere you and just think that you were great.
Yeah, and me, it's because craving, right? I want you. I don't have to say it, but so what? Even the past brother, but maybe in the next moment you're my enemy too, right? Okay, I'm joking. Okay. But anyway, this is how look through it, maybe next time you're my But of course, I must treat everybody the same, not because your past was my brother. Okay, anyway, I just want to say something like that. So, once you have that kind of quality, you don't. Even people knew that, I thought, let's say some other people have a power. You know he's your past brother? So, why would I have to tell that person like that? Because he knew very well there's more morality is there, that if you say that, actually, sometimes of course we still have craving. As a first sample, it doesn't mean you don't have craving, you still, but at least you understand the small morality, that kind of part. It's still not fully enlightened like in our society. So, but I mean, then he will take that morality, just a small part, as the very important thing, because that little change will change a lot of things. All right, let's say I just finished my talk now. Thank you for your attention. At least you have a simple picture of it. So you'll know why you practice Buddhism. Some people say, so difficult, but you should be happy. Better than you don't know what you're doing. Okay. Right. Okay, thank you for your attention. We'll take our meditation. Our simple meditation of loving kindness and so on.
对，我吸一点蛮有意思的。